Alright guys, this is our first lecture of our second unit, that of course being thrilling the audience. Now, what we're talking about whenever we thrill the audience is, once again, if you recall, the way we're setting this course up is that we are writers. And to be good writers, we need to read good writing. And that's really what it kind of comes down to whenever you're first starting out. Now, thrilling your audience is something that you really kind of want to do because it hooks them. It makes them want to read on, which is why usually whenever you're first reading a story, there's usually something very interesting that happens within the first couple paragraphs because you want your reader to be invested in your characters, invested in your story, your plot, and to do that, you really kind of have to do something extraordinary to get them ready to go, to get them to buy into what it is that you are selling. Now, the two stories that we have in front of us, that being The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe and The Monkey's Paw by Jacobs, those are both pretty classic examples of thrilling the audience because they utilize suspense. Now, thrillers and suspense are connected. They really are. In fact, you could even say that they're synonyms. They're synonymous with each other. And so suspense is a great use. So, I mean, you can use those two terms interchangeably, and that's probably what we'll do as we continue on. Now, what you need to know first is that whenever you're hooking your audience, you have to have a genuine idea. You have to have an original thought. Even the crappy, horrible Twilight book starts out with her death scene. And so, or at least I can't even remember what, I had to read it for, in class whenever I was in college for a young adult lit book, or a literature class. Horrible book. If you guys don't know my feelings on Twilight, it is completely horrible. And to go off on a tangent, she's also a plagiarist. But that's neither here nor there. You can look that up yourself. But even then, I mean, even writing that bad, you have that hook, you have that thrill really early on. You have that that idea that you're going to end someplace that's rather thrilling, even though it is something as horrible as bleeding out and dying. But let's talk about thrilling the audience. Whenever you write your actual short story, you need to keep in mind that you need to do something that is interesting. Because you might have a great idea, you might have great characters, and as we've said before, we've become a audience and a readership that is completely character-driven, or nearly completely character-driven. You have to have great plot to move those things on, but we've become to where, as a society, we want to see the characters interact with those things, and we're less interested in what is being interacted with. We're more interested with what they are doing and how they are responding to these things. Now, what I really want you to do is, as you read these, keep in mind what Poe is doing, what Jacobs is doing to suspend your belief. Because, guys, suspense has to do with building tension. You want to build as much tension as you can before you get to that climax, before you get to that point where everything changes in your story. If you recall from your introduction courses, your English 1, you go through the plot stages, where you're talking about, the status quo, the everyday life, and then you have that rising action, and it peaks there at the climax, and then we have the falling action. So suspense literally is that rising action era. It is that point where you are building all that tension, all these things are coming to a head, and you want to be kind of mysterious while you write these things. You do not want to give it all to the audience right away. You really do not. You need to sow bits and pieces of your narrative and your plot and your characterization as the reader goes on. What I really want you guys to keep in mind as we get to our last unit, which is all about writing that short story, which we will discuss at length, I promise, later on, whenever we actually get to that unit. But we're going to be talking about it as we go on, because this is all to prepare you for that. It really, really is. The short story is kind of your final for this whole class, if you will. So please keep in mind the lessons I'm trying to teach you so that you have one heck of a short story that I can read and that we can read together and that we can switch and do some work with. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, thrill in your audience. Make sure you're building tension, because one of the key points of writing a good story, and what a lot of amateur writers do, and what a lot of beginning writers do, is that they lay it all on the table. Those first couple pages, they tell you this is who these people are, this is what's going on, and this is what they want to happen. And while that's really easy to write, what you're really reading is an outline. One of the things I want you to remember, and I know this is going to sound oxymoronic considering that we are writing, but don't tell me, show me. Okay? Don't tell your audience that your character has a tragic past. Show them. Show them through the interaction with the character. Show them with how they deal with, that they deal with those plot points and those tensions. So don't just say Johnny had a tragic and mysterious past. Show that Johnny had a tragic, mysterious past through the context of what's going on. And we'll get to some examples of that. For instance, Poe. For instance, Jacobs. The Monkey's Paw and the Telltale Heart. Actually, I flipped those things around because Poe wrote the Telltale Heart and Jacobs wrote the Monkey's Paw. But anyway, the Monkey's Paw, guys, is really, really good. It's really kind of surprising. I'm pretty excited about it. Taking a sip of my water. It is condensating. Water condensating. Refreshing. Okay, so keep those things in mind. I'm really excited about this particular unit. I hope you like it. I know these particular things, these two stories, are a little bit older. Obviously, Poe, you kind of get a little hint of him with just about every class you'll have in high school. For instance, if you had me, we did read The Cask of Amontillado, which is about Carnival and walling up your enemy in a in some catacombs, so that you never have to hear him again, ever. You never have to talk with him ever again. But anyway, so Poe, guys, is kind of one of the most interesting writers, not just because of his personal life, which was very mysterious and suspenseful as well, and very tragic, obviously, but also because he really knew how to work the audience. And Jacob's story, The Monkey's Paw, to be honest with you, there's only one, well, there's a couple, but there's one real potent moment of suspense. And it seems to go very short, but it is a heck of a moment. And the audience, we're just like, and you can't believe the guy does something that ends up happening. But anyway, so get started on those. Guys, if you have come to this part, I hate to beat this into the ground. If you have not emailed me yet, that you have any Blackboard issues at all, you need to email me. If you are, you need to email me to let me know that you're not. Just let me know that you logged in, that you're getting this stuff, guys. All right. Hopefully at this point, this is a mute point to say that, so you're just going one ear out the other. So, all right, guys, click on your next lecture, and we will get started with the Telltale Heart first. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Poe. Enjoy. It's going to be a good unit. And make sure, guys, whenever you get to the end of this unit, when you get to the discussion board, that you are being as detailed and as thorough as possible with our conversations, because we need to be talking with each other. We are a community, all right? So, all right, I've talked enough. Enjoy, get to work, and I look forward to seeing you again.